My name is David Zokaitis. You can read it up there. And in honor of the tropical weather, I wore a tropical shirt because it's hot out there. Get in the groove a little bit. Something that I've been really interested in for a long time is just who is in control. So that's what we get to talk about tonight, the flow of power. Who's got control? How did we get it? And maybe what do we need to do differently? Oops. There we go. Now, just so everybody knows, I'm trying to talk about a system and not individuals, because I don't like what we're going to say. So it's about the system, and the system's got problems. Well, that's not necessarily due to the people involved. It's just the system needs some work. Cars need tune-ups. Systems need work. Now, when I've looked around at government in action, I've seen some things that don't seem to matter very much. Oh, like I've reported on unconstitutional laws, and they stay there, like as if they don't matter very much. And I've reported on wayward police, and nobody seems to mind that either. And if you look at the FCC, we're about to lose internet neutrality, and that will allow internet service providers to censor articles along the way. How could we possibly give up the cherished freedom of press? It makes no sense to me. At least it didn't used to, but it's starting to make a little more sense. Now, I have seen things that seem to be very important. Oh, sorry, wrong slide. Oh, wrong direction. Okay, I have seen things in government that do seem to be more important. Maintaining the status quo, for example, seems to be a big deal. Lowering taxes year by year on the rich seems to be an important consideration. Regressive taxation policies that shift the tax burden onto the poor, these seem to be important. And we're also in an era where government power is extended bit by bit, year by year. All right, so this all looks a little suspicious, or maybe what's going on? And then I look at meetings where people try to talk about things, but it appears as though the decisions were made beforehand, because there's this big mass of people that says this, and the government does that instead, and there's such this huge disparity. So, like, what's going on? Apparently, the decisions are not made where we think they are. And then I see a situation where, the young guys, they come out and they're rebels for a little while, and then they get kind of worn out and fighting this uphill battle forever, and then somehow dogma seems to trickle down, because you've got these important considerations from the status quo and get all this malarkey for fighting them all the time. So you get worn out, and senior officials tend to promote the status quo just due to this mechanism, regardless of how good they are. Now, if we look at what's going on in government in general, behind the full legislature, there seems to be little cliques here and there. Well, and if you have a vocal minority, then oftentimes you can be in control of the large organization. And you've got, maybe a mayor or a governor or a president setting policy, and these might be given to a leadership committee. Now here's the important part. Elections in this country tend to be very expensive. So we have to get donations from people who have got more money than we might like, and then all of a sudden you're serving your important campaign donors instead of perhaps who you might want to be serving. Bad system, bad policies. We need to change this. Okay. So here's kind of the summary of all these different points along the way. Power seems to start with campaign donors, and from there, there's mayors, governors, presidents, important senior committee members, and then you've got a steering committee perhaps, and you've got the full legislature. And that seems to be the way power really goes. And too many campaign donors are into money and not interested enough in the common good. I found a beautiful journal article that says we've got an oligarchy, not a democracy. You can read the third paragraph, but I'm running low on time. And here's a bunch of things that we can do to reclaim our government. And of course, we got to enjoy life and try to change the world. I hope you recognize this picture. And with that, Good evening, everybody.